Hi everybody, this is Brian Koo with a Rise of Kingdoms coaching video. This is from our rune fight yesterday, and we are just battling it out with EX90 here. Just to give you a little bit of context if you weren't at this fight, basically what happened is that we marched to this rune about 30 minutes before it opened. We had pretty good numbers. We had quite good numbers actually, and there was nobody from EX90 even at their pass. So we took the rune without problems, and all the fighting was happening at the other rune to the south where N70 is. That's where all the enemy players were. So some of us stayed at this rune, but a lot of our bigger players and our heavy fighters all switched over to N70 and fought there. And they won the fight down there, and we were all just kind of standing here at our rune. People started to go AFK. I actually went AFK. And the enemy then decided to attack us at this rune instead. Things were not working well at the other rune, so they came to our rune to see how they would do versus us. And at this point, it's mostly smaller players in our alliance who are fighting here. So you saw when I scrolled down that some T5 players from EX90 are showing up, and we're pretty much all tier 4 players here at this rune, trying to defend it. So pretty much the fight is just starting at this point. And I'm asking for help. Some of our fighters are walking back to their cities and getting ready to teleport back here. And we're just going to use this video to talk about the rune battle, and I'm going to talk about a few important ideas that will hopefully help us play better as a team, but more so just get you thinking about the right individual choices you need to make in a fight like this. You saw right there that I attacked the Stalker there, and I thought I was going to get credit for a kill because I hit it, but that was actually a mistake by me. I do not get credit for that Stalker kill, and we'll revisit that later in the video. You're going to see me make a lot of mistakes in this video. I actually was hesitant to even make this recap and post it because this is probably the worst I've played in ROK in quite a long time. Although I'm doing fine here with my Saladin. So I think one thing you're seeing here is that you're seeing some of our players get very, very low on health. And I say at one point in the video that when you get to red health, you should retreat. I think that's generally true, but at the same time, I think, we're watching a lot of our smaller players fight right now, and I think in that case, it's actually kind of okay that they just stay until they die. And the reason I say that is because this is a very good spot for our smaller players to contribute to the fight. We have a numbers advantage in this fight. We are also fighting over a real objective. We're fighting over, our ability to keep control of this box that we call the Ancient Runes. And our smaller players are not really going to find a better situation than this to use their troops. If they hold off on healing, if they conserve their healing speed ups until Kingsland opens, they're not going to be able to contribute too much on the open field against 5 March T5 murder balls from enemy whales. So I think it's fine that some of our smaller players really threw their troops at this fight and allowed us to keep control of the box, or maintain some control of the box, until reinforcements started to arrive. And you see now I'm getting to red on my Saladin, and I'm pretty much going to retreat him very soon. And then we'll just fast forward on this video a little bit until my next march gets there. Yep, I'm heading back. So you see we have a lot of people bringing new marches in, and that was very key. Our numbers advantage in this fight was pretty much the key. And it's a good time zone for us, this particular rune battle at 20 UTC. So we expected to have a numbers advantage, and we did have a numbers advantage. All right, we're just going to fast forward until my Charles is at the rune. All right, we're just going to go back a little bit because I want to just... So here's the deal with this Charles Martel march. You're going to see me make a lot of mistakes with this march. And one way to look at this game is that it's a game of mistakes, and it's a game of avoiding mistakes on the individual level. We all realize that we make a lot of choices every day on our account. And when you do things properly, when you complete your daily quests, when you send out gatherers, when you use all your AP, you're not making any mistakes. You're avoiding making any mistakes. You're maximizing what you have. But anyway, we'll just talk about that as time goes on. You see my Charles getting in here. I pretty quickly jump to the front lines. You'll see that most of our army is to the right of me, and we'll call that the back line. And I'm essentially the front line here with this Charles. And that's what you want to do with a tanky march. You want to be in front. You don't want to be way ahead of your teammates, but you just want to be in front of your teammates. You want to be trying to get the attention of the enemy. You'll see the enemy keep trying to run away and pull me back, and then I just change targets. Something I will point out right now, and this is the first and biggest mistake I made in this fight, is that I do not have any equipment on my Charles Martel. He has no equipment on him. Charles is a secondary in my Lost Canyon team, and I just straight up forgot to swap equipment from my Guan Yu onto my Charles. I basically didn't get much sleep before this rune battle, and I had a very busy day of work immediately after this rune battle, so I just was not able to prepare for it. And this ends up being pretty important because I fight quite a bit with this Charles Martel, and he has no gear. So the fight is going on. It's a pretty even fight at this point. We have started to get reinforcements, and we have a numbers advantage, and we have the advantage in this fight, but an advantage in a fight like this, it doesn't, manifest immediately. It takes time to really push the enemy out of it. So again, you're seeing me move back here. I'm not trying to get out of position. I'm trying to stay with my team, and I'm trying to stay in the front. And then another thing I'm trying to do is when I see damaging marches getting close to us, I'm just going to try to push them away, right? I'm not going to let these damaging marches attack our smaller players or our DPS marches. I want to point out that this player Pra-Ram with this Guan is one of the officers for EX90. Now at this point I noticed that I have 0 stalker kills, and I'm kind of like, uh-oh, I thought I had 2 stalker kills at this point. So what I should have done here is I should have tried to get 3 stalker kills right here. But it's hard. It's so tempting to hit the enemy instead of the stalkers, but we're talking about 2 days of speed ups and 500 gems, which is going to be roughly about 2,000 gems of value. And 2 days of healing is probably going to be about 80k to 90k troops. So there's no way I'm going to get 80k I'm going to wound 80 or 90k enemy troops in the time it takes me to kill 3 stalkers. So I should have killed 3 stalkers. This was definitely a mistake. It cost me about, look, see, now I realize it, that's when he knew he screwed up. Um, so anyway, we're talking about 2,000 gems of mistakes that I made by not completing that quest. All right, so we have a big numbers advantage here. And at this point, we are going to push the enemy out of the square. And it seems to me that what they probably did was they just entered the square in order to kill those stalkers. And that was a very good strategy by them, because I'm sure some of them completed the quest, and then they ran away. And that was just very smart of them. All right, now we're going to look at my second big mistake here in a second. So we're pushing them out, and what I see here is I see, oh, we have a huge numbers advantage. We can push these guys out. And so I'm trying to keep the fight going, basically. And I've said to people, stay in the box. Our goal is to stay in the box. Once we control the box, we stay in the box. But I want to keep the fight going, so I go out of the box. And this is what happens. You'll notice that my teammates all go chase after this low power Pelagius in the upper left. And I'm left all by myself, and I get surrounded. And by the way, I have no gear on this Charles. And I'm trying to pull him in, right? I stayed longer than other people because I did want to pull the enemy back into the box and keep this fight going. But I didn't have any gear, and I just overplayed what I was doing. And I get wrecked. And there we go. Fate Changer. I'm going to rewind this actually to the Fate Changer, just so we can look at this bundle. I did buy this bundle, by the way. All right. So Fate Changer is a very good bundle. It's got 25,000 gems and 6,000 VIP points. So that's about $31,000 right there, or 31,000 gems right there in value. Then it's got 200 hours of speed ups, which is another, that's about 8.5 days of 8.5 days of speed ups. So that's, you know, roughly 6,000 gems. So about 37,000 gems plus all the resources here. That's very good value. It's better value than, you know, for example, I think you can buy 30k gems for $100. So the Fate Changer is very good value, and if you're a low to medium spender, I would recommend buying the Fate Changer bundles if they do happen to pop up. Let's just go back here and look at this fight again, and just let's just think about my decision making here in this fight. All right. So again, I'm trying to keep us fighting these enemies. We have a numbers advantage, and I just want us to... Actually, I'm going to rewind a little bit further. All right. So right here, for example, we have here what I would call a front line. Let's just let it develop a little bit. Oh, sorry. I'm not quite timing this correctly. Let's just go from here. So we have a bunch of people who do come down to fight them in this area, right? We all come down. All the enemies are here. We all drift down. So I am at the front, but we do have a front line here, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got at least 6 people here. We did have a few people just move back and chase down this Guan up here. So at this point, we do have a front line. And let's just look at what happens when people decide to chase someone that's out of position and swarm them down rather than stay at the front. So, okay, everybody goes at this Pelagius now. And they keep chasing him. They keep chasing him. So basically, our front line disappears, right? Our front line disappears. And this is not to say that what they did was wrong. Um, I would say what they did was fine because our goal was to stay in the box. The point of our team is the point of our strategy is to stay in the box, and that's what they did. They used an enemy to drag them back into the box, which is fine. But just understand that when you do decide to back away and swarm someone in the back, there are downsides to it. And the downsides to it are that our front line does fall apart, and anyone who gets left behind gets destroyed. And it also allows the enemy to actually push into our forces. So, anyway, I don't quite want to watch this again, but let's just go through it because, well, here's another mistake, right? This cost me, I actually took about 55k severely wounded here. I did about 15k. So it cost me about 40k negative profit on severely woundeds, which is about 1 day. It's a little bit over 1 day of healing plus the resource cost. So we'll say this was like another 1,000 gem mistake. So very quickly, I'm at like 3,000 gems that I've cost myself in this fight, just making mistakes. And that, you can't make 3k gems worth of mistakes every day, or you're just not going to progress your account very fast. All right, so again, we have a numbers advantage at this point. And we'll just watch my Saladin do some work. My Saladin had mostly all his correct gear on. He was missing accessories. I would normally have a Silent Trial and a Delanes on him. But because I use Genghis in Lost Canyon instead of Saladin, I had put those accessories on Genghis. The change I'm going to make is I'm just going to leave my gear on the marches I use for open field rune battles and just not do quite as well in Lost Canyon for now. The difference in rewards between, being in 150th place and being in 70th place in Lost Canyon are not that big. So I'm just going to play it safe and leave my gear on the commanders that I use for rune battles. Because not having gear on this Charles really did cost me a lot. But anyway. So at this point, everything's going fine basically. And this is kind of what winning the runes is going to look like. When we win the runes, when we control the box, we're not just going to be able to sit here idle. The enemy is going to hang out here on the edge, and they're going to mess with us. They're going to try to get some kills. They're going to try to get good trades. They're going to try to pull us out of the box. And the reason we stay in the box is because it allows us all to stay on the same page, right? We know we're staying in the box. The enemy's trying to pull us out. And if we didn't have a hard and fast rule to stay in the box, half of us would wonder, by the way, you're seeing me really rip this Saladin here. But if we didn't have a plan to stay in the box, then we would have some people wondering what to do when the enemy starts pulling us out. Are we supposed to stay outside the box and fight him, or are we supposed to fall back? Now we just know that we fall back. You're not going to see us swarm this guy. My name is Noob, and he's an enemy that I've seen a few times, and he does get pulled out of position a lot. Now, off this swarm, I want to talk about what is powerful about us all swarming the same guy who got pulled out of position. Okay, we're all doing the same thing. Now look at our movement after this. We all are ready for a new target. We all have the same idea. We just finished killing one guy. Let's kill another one. And so our movement here is very, very nice. We all move together towards the next target. And that is what's so good about swarming down a target in the back line. It puts us all in the same place. It gets us all doing the same thing. And it's essentially a trigger for us to move on to the next target. So again, you'll see us hovering near the end of the box. And I kind of learned my lesson last time, and I'm not getting pulled out of the box. It's very tempting to go out of the box. We have the numbers advantage. We were just killing them. But it's just, we just want to stay fundamentally sound and do what the plan was ahead of time. Because when we do what the plan is ahead of time, we all end up doing the same thing. So here you see the fight being a little bit chaotic. There's a few different sections of the fight. I'm again looking at my quests and realizing that I screwed up. In a spot like this, where there's a few different sections of the battle, you really just want to think about what you're doing individually, right? You want to not get pulled out of position. You don't want to let the enemy swarm you. And you want to stay close to your teammates. And you want to look for targets that are good people to hit. And that means you want to hit damage marches. If you're a Cav player like I am right now, you want to be, if you and you see an Archer player coming close to your team, you really want to just make a beeline for that Archer player and take them out. You also want to take out these Cav marches like Genghis, because these Cav marches are going to mess with our Archer players, right? As a Cav player in rune battles, your job is to protect your Archer players. You take out the Cav and you take out the Archers. You have the speed to move around, you have the speed to pick your targets, and against Cav and against Archers, you do very well. So here at this point, it's a pretty good fight. They're making a good push, and I don't quite remember what happened, so let's see what goes on. You know, see, again, we're swarming this My Name is Noob. Again, this same guy is getting pulled out of position. And, you know, just try to remember the names of the players you see over and over again. You're going to pick up on very distinct styles from a lot of different players, and that is going to really help you decide what to do. You know, some players get pulled out of position a lot. You can, you know, make sure that you try to pull those guys out of position. Other players will have very good movement, and against them, you A, need to be very careful and not let yourself get pulled out of position, and B, you know that as soon as you hit them, they're going to run away. And when I get my Charles March back out here, you'll see some examples of that, where I just hit some Cav player once or twice, and that causes them to run away, and they're not able to do any damage. You know, in a spot like this, it would help to be on voice, where we could call out targets. But again, this is just sort of a chaotic fight. There's really no front line or back line. This is more about your individual choices. So don't get pulled out of position, stay with your team, and pick good targets. And good targets are targets that are squishy and do a lot of damage. I'll also point out at this point that our enemies do have good movement. They, well, let's go to this next Charles March and talk about our enemy as this is happening. All right, so the rune battle itself is about over. I think there's no more stalkers, and you know, I think some of the enemies started to leave, but they do continue to fight us for a bit longer. So let's talk about our enemies a little bit here. First of all, this was a very bad time zone for our enemy. It was about 3 in the morning in Thailand. And so their numbers were not very good here. Um, I think we were basically fighting their serious fighters who sort of will show up no matter what time it is. And we didn't fight a lot of their smaller, more casual players. And it's going to be a very different fight when the time zone is favorable for them because they're going to have a lot more people here. So we're not going to have as easy of a time of it in the future. Um, they have pretty good commanders as well. I will point out they did have some Ramses YSGs. They have a lot of cavalry players. They did not use many Richards. In some of the other runes that you look at, there's a lot of Richards, but the people we fought in this particular battle, we did not see many Richards at all. We saw a lot of Alexes, we saw Khans, we saw some Ramses. They have pretty good commanders. Now you'll notice I target this Nick Fang guy with the Saladin. He's a runner. I've already sort of noticed that this is a guy who, look, he's already running away. I hit him a couple times and he ran away. And that's what tanking is in this game. You hit the damage dealers, you push them away, you make it difficult for them to get to your back line. You see on the right, we have a lot of, Guans, we have an Artemisia, we have Idan coming in with her Edward. And so I was there first, right? I was there first, and then our Khans and our Edwards came in and joined the fight. I took the attention of the enemy, and then our damage players came in. And that's what tanking is. It's not just standing in place. It's not just absorbing all the damage, but it's about distracting the enemy, annoying the enemy. It's about making it hard for the enemy to get close to the targets they want to hit. And I do pretty good here, but again, I don't have any gear on, so it's not, it could have gone better, but I think the way this Charles does, it's a good example of tanking. See, again, I'm pulling back. I'm not walking right into the enemy. I'm just staying in front of where my team is. I'm at the front of where my team is, but I'm staying with my team. And at this point, I'm putting the Constantine buff on quite a few players. I don't think we had a Joan in this fight, and so I would point out that it would be nice to have a Joan in a battle like this, where you're buffing, at least half a dozen people. Yeah, I can't remember if they push us back here or not, but I think they probably do. I think we probably fall back a little bit here. Again, we have a bunch of people. Well, let's see what happens. The fight kind of stays here for a while. And let's just kind of look at how I'm tanking. Again, I'm just in front. I'm not trying to push us forward. Look, so I'm pulling back again, right? I'm pulling back. I'm not trying to force us to engage all their players. I'm just staying at the front of where my team is. And you'll see Bisham's out here with his Charles YSG, and he also plays in a tanky style. But you'll just notice that Bisham overplays a little bit, right? Like, look where I am compared to where Bisham is, right? Where I am is totally fine. I am tanking. I am, getting in the face of this Ramses that's trying to do stuff. Bisham, on the other hand, he's just a little too far. He's chasing, it looks like he's chasing this Khan or something, and he's just a little bit too far. He should be where I am. If Bisham was in the same area that I am, we would have a very strong front line. But instead, we're just spread out, right? Now, again, I'm pretty far from where my team is. So look, I pull back to where my team is. I'm not staying where the enemy is. I'm pulling back to where my team is. But I'm still a tank. I'm still in front. And again, so we're all swarming down this Alex. And let's watch our movement as a team at this point. Everyone's not sure. We're not quite sure what to do. This is sort of an interesting spot where neither team wants to really engage. We're not quite sure what to do. So what do? I just hit the Richard that's in the back row. You don't have to be way out ahead of teammates. You just have to be near the front with your teammates, and you have to be trying to get the attention of the opposing players. So this fight's just going to keep going on. We're fighting a lot of the, I would say, stronger players on the enemy. I've seen this SPP meta player quite a bit. But this is what the fights with these guys are going to be, right? We're seeing what our opponent has at this point. They have pretty good commanders and they have good movement. Like, they're not really overplaying that much, right? Their Richard went in first. We're targeting their Richard, and now their Edwards are coming in, their Alexes are coming in, their Khan and their Guans are coming in, right? They're pretty good. They're pretty good players, and we have to be aware of that. And we just don't want to force it, right? Don't let them pull you out of position, and be patient. Be patient. Stay together as a group, and we'll just progress together as a group. It's fine. Look, you see me moving back again. I'm in front of my team. I'm moving back. I'm trying to figure out who to hit. I'm going all the way back now. This is where our team is. I'm going back. At this point, we're a little bit short of players, but reinforcements are coming in. We're starting to see reinforcements come in. Chaparral just showed up with a fresh march. You see Mag there with his Guan Alex. Sanriel's coming in. And this is the ebb and flow of these fights, Your players walk home, you get a little weaker. Your players return, you get stronger. And it's just an ebb and flow back and forth. Winning the fight is not going to be this obvious thing that happens immediately. It just happens over time. It happens gradually because we trade better than the enemy. This Pra-Ram guy, I'm going to point him out. He is an officer for EX90, and he is aggressive. He is someone who gets pulled out of position. I think he tries to force the issue a little bit, and we can take advantage of that. So we're going to look at Addy and Chaparral's marches here, Ramses and Artemisia. I think they overplayed a little bit here, right? They're forward. They're ahead of me. They're ahead of Sanriel. They're ahead of their tanks. And I think maybe they just wanted to see how much damage they could do with these tanky YSG marches. Which is fine, but you'll see that they get taken down pretty quickly. You'll see that Chaparral and Addy joined this fight later than I did, but they actually go home before I do. And I don't even have gear on. So again, we want to stay as a team. Look at I just keep pulling back. Look at how many times I've gone forward and I've pulled back. But I'm tanking. I'm staying in front. I'm getting in their face. Look at I'm in red. I have red health right now, and I'm tanking. I'm being annoying. And they're barely targeting me. I'm in red, but they're barely targeting me because enemies notice what your primary commander is, and they don't target Charles's. They don't target Richard's. And here we are. We're swarming again. We have very good numbers. And look, we all sort of turn around. We all go on the next target. Look at this. We're all on the next target, just like that. So we use those swarms as a trigger to move as a group to the next target. So I don't think there's too much more to say at this point. There's one other thing I want to cover in this video. I know it's very long. I appreciate anybody who's actually watched this entire thing. I'm just going to go over one other thing with my Saladin March. So we've pushed them back at this point. They're running away. We've pushed them back to their pass. And I just want to talk about what they do to us, the trap that they set for us, and then I also want to talk about the way that we disengage. So we have a good numbers advantage here, and it's fine that we're attacking them at this point, right? They're running away. We're getting good trades. This is fine. This is fine. At this point, I would maybe look at what the enemy players are doing. Like, just kind of get a feel for what some of these enemy guys do, right? Because they start to bait us. At this point, they start to bait us. They really don't engage. Maybe we catch this guy out. This is another player that overplays. You know, this is what happens in these fights. You easily kill the people who overplay, but then the people who have good movement, they're you can't get them, right? Look at these guys. They bait us. They bait us all the way to their pass at this point. We're just running after them. They're turning around every once in a while, but they're essentially baiting us right now. Like, look at this Nick guy. This Nick guy. He probably went too far here, but look, he's just baiting us. He's just baiting us. He's just running in to keep us walking towards their pass. And right around here is where we should have realized, hey, we should just stop. But it's just so tempting, right? We're getting good kills. We're chasing them down. We have a numbers advantage. It's just so tempting to keep going. It's so hard to notice the trap that's being laid for us. But really, when we chase these guys down, we should stay at the edge of their territory. As a general rule, we should just stay at the edge of their territory. We should have killed that guy and stopped, but we just kept going. We kept going. It's too tempting. I don't know if this was a purposeful trap by them, but I think that they just sort of felt comfortable. And you'll notice that I never once scanned my camera to see what they have at their pass. I never once scanned to see, oh, how many more people from the enemy are showing up here. I do block this guy pretty well. He was trying to get in that resource tile, but I blocked him. So, I mean, at this point, we've done very well, right? Like, we've done well. We've maybe swarmed down about 3 of them, right? In the last minute or so, since we really chased them down, we killed about 3 of them, maybe 4 because we put a lot of them at yellow health. But look how many losses we're going to take compared to those 3.5 enemies who we took down. This is when I realized we messed up, right? I'm like, oh, we're right at their pass. I see a bunch of them flooding in. And then I pull back, right? All right. I finally realize that we have overstayed our welcome. And we just didn't need to do this. We did not need to get this close to the pass. It's tempting to do it. I understand why we did it. This trade is not horrible. But at this point, we need to fall back. And I'm trying to explain basically that we need to fall back gradually. And that is the final lesson of this video, is how do we fall back as a team? Now, the first thing is that when we call a retreat, we have to actually retreat. And our slow players need to run away first. Our Richards need to run away first. So we've got Sanriel up there with Richard. We've got Meme Supreme. And I'm trying to pull us back, right? I'm just trying to show that we need to pull back. We are pulling back. Now, here's the protocol. Our slow players need to just run. Just run away. We see we lost 2 people there. We lost 3. We have 3 sad faces walking away right now, right? So it was not worth it to chase these guys down because we're taking more losses than they took on, the way in. It's not a terrible trade, but it's just a trade. So again, our slow players need to run away. Our slow players cannot stop to fight these guys. We're retreating. Our slow players need to run. Like you see Sanriel running away right now. I'm going to bet that he gets away. I will bet that Sanriel gets away. But I'm going to also bet that some of these other Richards and stuff do not get away. I'm going to guess that Meme Supreme does not get away, because he just stayed too long. Now, when our slow players are running away, what are the rest of us doing? What am I doing? I'm just trying to cover their escape, right? The enemy is going to chase these players down. When the enemy is chasing players down, you can hit them and they're going to drag you in the exact direction that you want to go. That is a very powerful frame. Now, the problem is it gets confusing, right? People get confused. We say we're retreating, and yet what am I doing? I'm going back in to fight. And so people see that. People see a bunch of us doing that. And they think, oh, maybe are we fighting? Are we retreating or are we fighting? No, we're retreating. Nobody said anything else except retreat. I'm staying and fighting because I'm trying to help people get away and because I can easily get away whenever I want to. So look, this Attila, right? We just hit this Attila. It, you know, we could have kept running away. We did not need to attack the Attila. Whoever is getting targeted by the Attila keeps walking away, and the rest of us hit it because we're going in that direction anyway. We might as well get the free hits. So just don't get confused when we keep turning around to hit the enemy. We're still retreating. Our slow players need to retreat. You know, I think BK over just stays too long here. He may, have a lot of healing speed ups and stuff and be fine with this trade with his Attila Takeda. But again, we're retreating. There's no reason to fight the other team if it's slowing us down on our retreat. The number one goal is to get away. But we're just trying to help people as they get away. We're trying to get free hits in as they get away. We're trying to slow down the people who are chasing us. We're trying to deter the people who are chasing us. I mean, I stayed a second too long there, but again, I'm able to get away no problem. This is where Cav players are just covering the marches of the enemy. You'll see Sibeli's Minamoto getting into this fight in a minute. And she's fine, right? She's fine. She gets away. It's a little bit later, I guess. But look at, well, let's see if Jack turns around. Jack's Ethel, right? Jack's Ethel is slow. He joined the fight as we were retreating. He got in a little too deep. And again, look, we're just trying to cover him. BK's covering him. I'm covering him. Looks like Castiel's moving somewhat slowly. You've seen King Plek turn around a few times to cover people. We're just getting free hits. That's all we're doing. We're just getting free hits because we're walking this way anyway. Don't confuse free hits with the idea that we are not retreating, because we absolutely are retreating. We said we're retreating. That's what we're doing. And the slow marches need to get out first. The slow marches need to get out. Let the fast marches cover the retreat. So now Jack's getting hit. He might have tried to get into a tile. Didn't work. That's fine. We'll practice that in the future. And we disengaged. All right. That's the end of the video. All right. So let me see. We'll just get to the very end of this video and wrap it up here. Oh, darn it. All right. Well, this is the end of the video. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. This retreat thing will be something that we work on. It's more art than science. And you can see that the enemy is a little bit spread out here too, right? Only the fast enemy marches were able to keep up. And so there does come a time where you can turn the fight, where we have the numbers advantage, and we turn the fight right back on them. But, maybe we'll cover that in a different video, because in this particular video, I just went home and went to work. So anyway, thanks a lot, and I will talk to you all later.